Oh, harsh. Hey, Dan with Dr. Burns Review, not a doctor. Today, we're talking about something a little different, something a little near and dear to my heart. Do you go with a Lexan body, or do you upgrade to a hard body, or build a hard body? I kind of want to get into that because there is two very different ways to do it, and you get a lot of pros on one side, a lot of pros on the other, but there's a lot of cons too, so a lot to go over. I'm going to try to keep this video short, but as always, for transparency and crystal clear clarity, this is not being sponsored. The manufacturer hasn't been in contact with me. I'm not being paid. There's no affiliate links. This was all of my money that I've spent on these, my spray paint, my everything. That way that you guys can get an honest video. If the manufacturer doesn't like it, I don't care. It's not about them. It's for all of you. When we talk about Hardbody and Lexan, 99% of the time, it's usually an upgrade. Because Lexan, you're going to get on almost all ready-to-runs. Hardbody is really to specific manufacturers. I think BX01 is one as far as a model goes, and RC four-wheel drive is really hot and heavy on the ABS models. It's very rare, besides like the Miller Motorsport that comes with Lexan, that they're going to do that. With my channel, I always get the bad out of the way so we can enjoy the good. And we're going to go through the bad on both of them, starting with the Lexan. What's wrong with bad about the Lexan? You can get it very scale, but it will never be as scale as an actual hard body. Now, one thing to cheat about it is that you can get more and more little plastic pieces. So the more a Lexan body has for pieces actually attached to it, as far as like this hood grill, the actual grill itself, these little plastic, the more plastic bits you have on it, the much better looking in scale it looks. You gotta be careful though, because like a TRX for Sport, just standard one, the 300 and whatever dollar one, it doesn't even have a grill or the headlight assemblies. It is just a sticker. Does that mean you can't add it? No, absolutely not. And you don't even have to add the lights to get a much better looking scale rig. As far as if you're just digging into, you want a little bit more scale, you want it to look a little bit better. So that's the downside with it. You usually have to add quite a bit of pieces to even get it remotely close. And it's usually add-ons. There's some rigs that come pretty well done up, but there's always a little more you want to add. Maybe it's a wiper, maybe it's a rear wiper, maybe it's something specific. Usually to get it at the same level as a hard body, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be adding a little bit more. Downside to these is that they have to be reinforced to get maximum strength, but in the same breath, they also are much stronger. Lexan can flex. Lexan can flex. Now, before I do this, because I've already done it, keep in mind that what you're going to see is the whole piece go in, but you can't flex the center. If you notice, the whole entire plastic piece is doing this. Lexan can be much stronger because you can reinforce it, but Lexan can also still crack. Probably one of the biggest downsides to Lexan, to keep in mind too, you're at the mercy of manufacturers' spray paints or, you know, the airbrush, whatever paint you want. Now in 2026, every manufacturer from Spazstix to Tamiya makes a majority of colors out there, but you can't get exactly matching paint because Lexan paint, you never just want to grab a spray paint like whatever, Duplicolor, Rust-Oleum. You don't want to just grab it off the shelf and start spraying either the outside or the inside, because even with an adhesive promoter, you still have a chance that it's going to crack and flake off because those paints are not meant to flex. All of your Lexan paints are meant to flex in a way that it will bond with the Lexan and it won't crack off. It literally will just crack in these weird shapes and just flake off if you just grab normal stuff. So you're at the mercy of whatever colors they make. Versus ABS, you can kind of grab whatever spray paint you want. As far as doing the outside body with bed liner, because it's kind of a weird thing, but it's one I do on a lot of different ones, it doesn't matter. This has a bed liner top. This is just Rust-Oleum, non-pro. I have it in another video, but non-pro, just regular Rust-Oleum, just the standard stuff. Don't waste your money on the pro because the pro comes out gloopy and it doesn't have this nice like sandpaper. But it's the same on both. You can do them on both. So as far as that goes, it's a middle ground if that's even a concern to you. The bad on hard bodies. They are made out of ABS. They're usually pretty thin. As far as like, it's a little thicker than it's thicker than you think, but not enough to really be durable. There's a reason why this is a shelf queen, because if you roll this, you are going to crack everything on it. Versus I could roll this down a mountain, as I have several times with little scratch marks, and you still be okay. Not only that, pieces like to break off even just falling on its side. I lost both mirrors They were glued in because they're not attached by screws most of the time. Most of the time they're glued in because it's plastic. I tipped it over and I broke one mirror off. I tipped it over again on carpet and broke both mirrors off. It's very, very hard to keep these in extremely good conditions while also driving them. You have to be so careful with them. And that's also another downside, is that to keep it in a really good condition, it's much easier for Lexan to look good depending on the color. This is white, and it's going to be hard to pick up on the camera, but there is scratches all down the side of this. But in the camera, you can't see it at all. You can see dirt falling off of it, but you can't see the scratches. Versus on an ABS body, the rock that you rub into is going to carve into the plastic. It's going to physically remove. Yes, you can carve some of this Lexan top off, but 99% of the time, it's just going to scratch. It's not going to actually carve into it unless you really dig deep into it. It can be done, but it's much easier on something like this. This, I can lightly go against a rock, and I will take not only the paint, but it will literally sand down the ABS plastic. So to keep it good looking, which to some people don't care, and that's awesome too. Don't think I'm just saying you have to keep it clean. I'm just saying if you're trying to keep it looking good, it's much easier for a Lexan body to look good. I mean, generally, it's just been smacked into so much stuff versus some of these get water and mud and other things. This thing has just got physical abuse on it, no matter what. There's not a lot of like extra bits you can buy as far as aftermarket goes, because each body is slightly different. So this one is actually an RC four-wheel drive Blackrock Galande 2. I'll put the full name. It's like 8 words long. It's the funniest thing on the planet. If you want to get something like this, you have to go through RC four-wheel drive for a lot of the add-ons. Now this thing is extremely close to the China Special just Jeep JKU body. It's extremely close. But some things work, some things don't, that I've found so far. So that's another downside, is that there's not going to be a ton of aftermarket fun stuff you can do. The chassis is one thing, but the body itself is pretty tough. This is kind of a nitpick thing, but when it comes to painting these bodies, this is kind of silly, but it's much easier to screw up. If you look carefully, you'll see that there is some red. I originally tried painting it red, and then if you look even below that, it's blue. What happens is that in a lot of parts that are hitting and pivoting, the paint comes off. So if you have doors that open, unless you can really, because it's like a real vehicle. You have to line up the hinges with the door and make sure it's perfect. If you don't get it perfect and there's any kind of rubbing, the paint comes off. And again, I'm getting nitpicky at this point, just so that we can transfer into the good. These hard bodies are a nightmare. As far as a bad thing, are a nightmare to put in like a TRX4, because the transmission sits so high and the motor, because it kind of sits up a little bit, a lot of times the channel and the tunnel where a transmission would be on this is flat. So putting hard bodies on a pre-existing Lexan can be a nightmare on its own. So you can make it easy if you just kind of research a little bit beforehand. But if you just say, hey, I want the Enduro Special or whatever it is, the China Special off Amazon, and you just want to slap this on an SCX10 or a TRX4, get ready to do some trimming and cutting. The only reason why this fits so well is because it was made for the chassis, and the chassis is a completely different setup than everything else because it's RC four-wheel drive. So let's talk about the good, because there's goods on both sides. Let's start with the Lexan. Good part is that, again, it's a lot more durable. It has some flex to it. You can get a lot of different parts. Like, these handles are metal. You can get a lot of different parts. Obviously, I've done the Raptor conversion from H-Tech, and that will be in a video on its own, but you can get a lot more parts for it as long as the rig has aftermarket support for it. I mean, all the way up until I got a rear bumper. They make plastic pieces that go right here that you can screw in. You can even get metal ones. I had metal ones at one time. There's the other door handle. You can do a lot more as far as simple things, and not even vehicle specific. So let's say I want to do a roof rack. It's really easy just to drill into Lexan and just make it look good without cracking it. Yeah, you can still do it on this. The problem is that this doesn't flex. So if I put a roof rack on this, and let's say I drill it into the top, and let's say the roof rack gets hit really hard, well, it's gonna start cracking this. Yes, you can have the same on here, but it's not to the same extent at all. I mean, I have crack marks, but they're just stress crack marks that go away from the hole. This is gonna break plastic off. It will go to the shortest possible way out. So if I have a screw that's here, and I hit the rack off something, it will straight crack to the shortest way possible. And guess what? A whole corner will eventually crack off. Not every situation, but you got to keep that in mind versus the Lexan. A really good thing about that is that because it flexes, you can put a roof rack, you can put all these different things. Like even the spare tire, I mean, I could really reef on and it's not going to hurt anything. And it's mounted to the body. TRX4 made it mounted to the body. So you can really reef on all these different parts. Plus on this is that the scale will always blow Lexan completely out of the water because it's physical pieces. The wiper blades are physical and they're indented in. You can do little designs. Like let's say you wanted to do the trimmer on the door. A lot of people like doing the trimmer on the door. I'm not a huge fan, but a lot of times with the Lexan, you have to use black tape. It's very, very thin tape and you have to cut it along. You can use a pen, but I've noticed a lot of times with a pen, it comes off versus this, you can just use that pen all day long. It's super easy. It's just easier because this already has the indents here. This is actually indented in because it's a physical piece. So you can just paint inside there or Sharpie or whatever have you. It's a lot easier to do on this versus this, you're pulling out tape to make sure it all works. You can put an extremely high gloss, I think it's 2K clear coat on something like this, and this thing will look real. I didn't do that because this I knew was going to be a shelf queen, and I was just trying to copy what my actual real vehicle was that I previously owned. That was it. That's the only reason why I even have this thing. Quite frankly, I am eventually going to sell it so that I can build one more out of a ready to run and I can actually use it. Because I don't use this because I'm so scared of breaking something on it and destroying it because I can't get parts for it anymore. That's another video I'm making on discontinued parts, but I'm getting off topic. It's just little things that are just easier to do, and just in general, like I said, they look better. 99% of the time, they come with an interior, which is nicer. Interiors for Lexan is fine if it mounts to the Lexan body itself, but something like this where it mounts to the chassis, you can sometimes get the dashboard that's slightly askew. Sometimes it'll get hung up on a door, or like this, the light kit doesn't really work well with it. I have the light kit sitting on top of a seat. There's just things about it. There's just little things. And it's just much easier to do something like this. Really, you can't go wrong with either one. I prefer, as you can probably tell, I prefer Lexan. I prefer being able to roll it. Yes, I think this looks beautiful, and I think this is extremely scale, and I'm very proud and happy of how I have it. But again, I'm so scared of using it because I don't want to break it that it never gets used. And how much does it never get used? There is no scratches. There's still stickers. There's not a single scratch on this thing. I haven't driven this thing outside besides on dirt or crushed stone. I would love to replace it eventually, like I said, with a ready to run. I'd probably do like a Vanquish kit with a JLU body. Yes, I own a JKU, but honestly, it's close enough where I'm happy. Another thing to think about too is that these hard bodies are heavy. That might be the first ding I actually put in this axle. Anyway, they're heavy. Your center of gravity is really thrown off on these. Now, if you put a roof rack on a Lexan body, or you like the Land Commander, where you put a tent or a canopy and stuff like that, you get all the weight up top on these little plastic pits. Oh yeah, you can make the center of gravity 10 times worse on a Lexan body, but just right off, if you take this versus a stock 21 Bronco, this thing's gonna be a lot heavier on the center of gravity. For most of them, you're gonna have a better center of gravity on this because a Lexan body is so light. Yes, I reinforce mine and it makes it much heavier, but 99% of the time, it's so much lighter that you'll be absolutely fine as far as getting performance. And that's really the big thing. Not just sitting with good or bad. At the end of the day, it's more for, do you want to go scale or do you want performance? It's extremely hard. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying it's extremely hard to get this level of scale and have performance versus this thing, because this thing's gonna out-crawl that thing all day long. What it really comes down to is just scale. How scaled do you wanna be? Because I could do everything under the sun to this thing, and in my personal opinion, this will always look better, no matter what. I mean, just look at the biggest thing that I always kind of get a chuckle out of, but I mean, look at just the tire size difference. And that's because you can't put 1.9, 4.75s, or 4.7s on this without it being a rubbing nightmare. And I know a lot of people want to just jump into the hard body world, and the best advice I can give is do as much research as you can. Because just because somebody on a review on Amazon says it can do it, doesn't mean they didn't Dremel the ever-living out of the interior. And you gotta really be careful, because if you're Dremeling pieces out, it's gonna be noticeable. This is pretty good at hiding it. This does 10 times better, because it has inner door pieces, it has the base, it has the dash, it has everything that looks better. Versus this, there's no door panels. You get what I'm saying? It's just do a lot of research if you're gonna do this, or if you want to make your life easy, buy RC four-wheel drive. That's gonna do it. I prefer this, I enjoy this.
This is brilliant, but I like this.
To look at, and that's it. That's all I like doing, is looking at it. And I'm like, oh yeah, cool, it looks like my old Jeep. I'm gonna change it out eventually. I'm eventually gonna sell it, and then I'm gonna just do a ready to run, less scale, but still close enough build. Thank you for watching. If you're from the last one, thank you even more. Good night.